Just press live. Okay, there we go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the S&P Sports Show. I'm your host, Shawn Stewart, and it is January 24th, 2023. Glad to have you on a wonderful program. So we have a lot to talk about. Of course, the UFC 283, recap of the NFL, talk about Michigan basketball with Juwan Howard. There's a great big news that's happening in the USFL, and that's involving the Michigan Panthers, what stadium they're going to be playing. We'll talk about that later. And of course, the Australian Open that's going on right now. So I have my co-host, Mr. Anthony Paulis. How are you doing, my friend?
Bit busy, very busy. Lots going on in sports, lots going on in life. Crazy times. It's tax season, people. That means broke people are hooking up with ugly people.
Exactly. That's
you
a good one. I
know,
like that term.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, gotta cuddle up sometimes, and try to get that tax money. Anyways,
UFC
it's
283.
cuffing season, and it's cuffing season. It's still cold, so
Right.
get them refunds while you can.
Exactly.
You can now file your taxes, by the ways.
Thank you for that information.
So, just in case for anybody needing to know that, just trying to provide some sound financial advice, in different areas. Compliments of the S&P Sports Show.
Exactly. That's another day.
So, yeah, let's start off with the UFC here. I mean, I know football's the bigger topic, but we'll get into that. We're just warming up. It's Tuesday.
Yeah, just stick with it.
Exactly. I mean, that was a pretty good pay-per-view.
Yes, it was.
Two new champions. Action-packed. I mean, that main card was every fight on there and the main card was pretty damn good.
Surprisingly.
I mean, the UFC, it had a dud this year, but the last two pay-per-views have kind of been pretty damn good. Two new champions.
Right.
Jamal Hill won. Hey, that was the best fight of his career. He showed that he has more facets to his game than the ground.
Right.
He beat a future UFC Hall of Famer. I mean, it's not like there isn't plenty of opponents for him to come up. I mean, they were, you know what I'm saying? So,
right.
It was a very action-packed fight, and he did it on a shortened training camp. He did not have a full training camp. Wow. So I mean, I think a very, very deserving win, and now we'll see what's next for him, coming up. I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, there's probably two or three guys out there that that we can think of that will probably be ready for a fight in that aspect, and we'll see what's going on. And then in the other main event, I mean, hey, Moreno showed some heart and pulled it up. This was their fourth fight. Yes, there was an eye injury, which shortened the fight, but Moreno showed the heart to win it. And, that weight class is pretty damn deep, I don't know if you'll see a fifth fight between those guys.
But it'll be nice, though.
But, I mean, there's going to be plenty of contenders. One guy maybe in particular that I think we'll get that title shot against Figueroa. And we'll see what's going to happen with that. The Gilbert Burns fight was good. I know he called out Colby Covington after this fight, but I think they're going to match up Chemenov and Covington. I think Burns has maybe got some other unfinished business, before he can rise up to a level of getting close to a title shot again, being at number 5. Paul Craig losing to Johnny Walker. That was a little bit of an upset.
Yes, it was.
Man, talk about a finish. Pretty interesting, and Jessica Andrade, former world champion, finished it off, and it was a pretty entertaining card overall. And it sets it up for the next pay-per-view. I mean,
that would be UFC.
We'll see what happens, because there's a couple of pay-per-views coming up here before the Jones Ghana fight. They're really trying to set it up. They're really trying to hype that fight to get some massive sells for that fight in terms of pay-per-view buys.
Because I'm actually looking.
So they need good fights and good pay-per-views that are entertaining to be able to upsell this fight between Jones and Gane.
Exactly, because that's the fight I'm looking for.
Which I think will be a little bit more action-packed than the Francis Gane fight, because stylistically, I'm not going to lie, that fight was a little bit boring, but, if Francis wasn't as strong of a physical beast as he is, I mean, I don't think he would have won that fight. I mean, Gane has some very, he has a lot of skills, where Francis, is all power, and Jones would have a difficult time dealing with that power, but he would have the skill set advantage by far. Where Gane has a little bit more elusiveness to him, I think he can cause Jones a little bit more problems, where with Francis, it's just the knockout power. You got to be worried about getting caught. So, I mean, the UFC's kind of on the uptick lately. We'll see what happens here in the next couple months, but I mean, they keep having pay-per-view successes like they have with the last couple. I mean, it can really bode well for, the summer season for 2023 for UFC. Speaking of fighting, we got a big fight this weekend in England.
Oh, I didn't hear about this.
With Arthur Buturatev against Anthony Yarde. I mean, that should be a damn good fight. I mean, Bertuatev's got 18 straight knockouts. Now, that should be a really good fight. I mean, if anybody saw Bertuatev's last fight against Joe Smith, where he dismantled him in under 3 rounds. I mean, the only thing affecting that dude is Father Time. He's got to get his fights in now before Father Time hits that buzzer. I mean, sadly we saw it hit Triple G.
Oh,
and this guy's super entertaining, but he's just turned 38.
That's kind of old for a fight.
I don't know what it is with all these Ukrainian and these Eastern European fighters seem to just be so advanced and coming out, but they got limited time frames to make money. Loma, Buturatev, GGG. I mean, but they have unheralded amateur records. So, yeah, it should be good. I don't know what American provider is showing the fight. I would imagine ESPN Plus probably would have this fight on Saturday, or maybe ESPN if we're lucky. I haven't seen which American network is carrying it. Could be DAZN. I'm not sure. God, I hope it's not DAZN. I'll admit I am not a fan.
Okay. Thank you for that information.
But yeah, we got some good quality boxing this weekend. We'll take advantage of it and just avoid boxing on February 25th because Adrian Broner fights that day and Floyd Mayweather fights some chump in an exhibition, and it's going to be a joke. Both of those cards are going to be a joke. So just avoid it.
Money for that.
Don't waste your money or your time, folks. So now that we've kind of covered the fight game for this week,
now we could talk the NFL division.
Let's get into the NFL. Let's talk about the games. And, you know, the Jaguar Chiefs game pretty much went just like how we said it would. Just, you know, I said 7 points. Did I not?
You did say that.
You know, I think I said 7 points. And it was a 7-point game. That game pretty much went to script. How I thought it was going to go, more or less. And the Chiefs advanced, but they advanced with Patrick Mahomes' ankle, which we'll get into a little later. But that injury didn't look good. But hopefully he's healed in time for Sunday's AFC Championship game. I mean, the Jaguars, you know, they played a lot better football the second half of the season, other than getting their butt kicked by the Lions. They played some pretty good football. Could be a team on the rise. I mean, Doug Peterson guy's a miracle worker.
They should be happy
in the right situations. So, hey, hats off to him, and hats off to the Jaguars. But the Chiefs, you know, they just got something going on down there. And then in the other game, the Bengals on the road with a super banged up offensive line, and they handled the Bills. Now, the Bills are they beat up? Yeah, I mean, a lot of their defense is missing. Von Miller, especially, and some other guys. And the one thing Buffalo really hasn't had during this stretch where they've been really good is a true running back.
Yeah, they don't.
You know, they got Devin Singletary and James Cook and Naeem Hines, and they had, you know what? Their offensive line isn't that great, and they don't have a true running game. Exactly. They don't have that back that you can count on. You know, they don't have a Joe. They don't have a Joe Mixon. They don't have, you know, of the remaining teams, they don't have Joe Mixon. Okay, they don't have a Christian McCaffrey with, you know, good capable backups. They don't have the running game power attack that the Eagles do with Hurts. Yeah, I know he's a running quarterback, and Miles Sanders and Gainwell and crew. You know, they're more of a finesse passing team, and that only's going to take you so far. And you know, especially in snowy weather where the passing's a little more difficult, you got to be able to run the ball. I mean, I might as well start asking the question here. Is Josh Allen going to be this generation's Phillip Rivers? Minus the 9 kids.
Right.
You know, because dude can't win the big game. Okay? He can't win the big game. When it gets to that big game,
He chokes.
The choking happens. You know, at Kansas City last season before. You know, they lose. They lose the big game every time. You know, this one being the worst, but his team was the most beat up. But last season, he was like 12 seconds away from winning it all.
And he blew it.
And, you know, and winning, you know, from it, you know, Josh Allen and the Bills have a problem. They can't get past that certain game, that big win.
Right.
You can't call beating Miami by 3 a big win in the play. I mean, that's a playoff win, but no, you can't consider that. I mean, are the Bills? Is this generation's Bills the equivalent of last generation San Diego Chargers get to the playoffs and not do a damn thing? I mean, they had Phillip Rivers and Tomlinson. You know, they don't have the running game like, you know, like we've talked about. But, yes, but, you know, they don't have. Are they this generation's Chargers? I think that's a viable question to ask. Are they this generation's Chargers? I don't have that answer right now. I mean, I know Josh Allen is young and he's got Diggs who isn't happy, but man, they don't have a running game. If I'm the Bills, okay, my number one priority this offseason is to figure out how to get a damn running back. Okay? I'm going to just go ahead and say it, okay? If Saquon Barkley somehow hits the market, you pay the man, okay? You pay him, okay? Devin Singletary ain't the answer, okay? Nyheim Hines is a good receiving back. It might fill in for a game or two if an injury. You need a back. A back that's going to get it done. James Cook, nice rookie, more of a pass-catching guy, but he's pretty much a younger Devin Singletary. You know, you need a back. And you need to figure it out. And I mean, other than Bijan Robinson, you know, if you're going to, because the Bills are kind of going to be drafting in there, unless you're going to go that young and invest that route, you better be thinking that if Saquon Barkley becomes that guy, you better think about spending the money. And because he is. I don't, you know, the Giants were like, let me ask, would you rather want to play with the Giants or in Buffalo? I mean, you're technically in the state of New York with higher taxes, but still, right. I mean, I guess Buffalo. You know, I mean, I guess that's the question you gotta ask yourself, you know,
because they really do need one bad, like very bad.
I mean, you got to ask yourself some questions. And Saquon's possibly going to be available. You know, the Giants, I mean, no offense to the Giants, they're talking about extending Daniel Jones in this quarterback-rich environment. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. You know, I'm not saying go out and trade for Aaron Rodgers. And I know Daniel Jones maybe doesn't turn the ball over much, but man, I think you can do better than him. I think you need to think about Saquon if he becomes an available free agent. And the man's going to get paid either by the Giants or somebody else. I don't care. You know? So there you go. That is that, I think. And, that leads us into the NFC.
Yes.
As I said, and it was probably our shortest segment, because we really didn't cover the
Michigan, the
no,
Chicago
we
Bears.
really did not cover the Giants and
The Giants and Eagles. It was a blowout.
yes, we really didn't cover it, but guess what? Okay. That game went exactly how we said it was going to go.
A blowout. And which it happened.
I said, Shawn, there's not much we really need to talk about with this. Is what I said, did I not?
You did say that.
I said that the Eagles were just going to run right through them, and it was going to be pretty much almost like the first time they played, and it was.
Right.
And that was that, and we moved on to talking about the Cowboys and 49ers, which pretty much went kind of like how we thought, a defensive struggle, right? And I think the spread was it 8? Or was it 5.5? I mean,
it was a single digit. I do know that. I think it was on.
I can't remember, but I mean, I think it was 5, and it ended up being. I think it was 5. Don't quote me. I think it was 5. But
that's why I'm checking right now.
Maybe I'm.
But it was. Let me check. I'm on Odds Sharks. It was 3.5. It was 3.5.
Yeah, I mean the Niners covered, but I think it went down. I think it went down as I believe it went down because I think on Thursday when we talked about the game that it was at 5, and I think by game time it went to 3. So
it actually opened up as a 4, then it being down as 3.5.
Okay, so it was something of one nature or another. Okay,
right.
So
they covered.
I mean, they covered. That's cool and all. For the true gambler out there, they covered and that's nice and all. But the game went pretty much as planned. You knew Dak was probably going to choke it away, and he surely did. Okay? I mean, I hate to say it, but the man's a choke artist. He just...
Would you consider him as like a Danny White?
Well, he got a playoff win finally. That much I'll say. He got a playoff win. Yeah, you know what? He might be Danny White, but I think he's he's more talented than Danny White.
Right. Oh, no question about that. We can both.
I mean, if we're talking those logistics, he's more talented than Danny White. Okay, but in terms of what will Dak's legacy be? I mean, dude, you're getting paid $40 million. Okay? Dude, they've done everything that they can for you. Okay? You had a Bob D this year. Probably one of the 3 best defenses in the league. Okay? You got a stud receiver. You have 2 good running backs, a solid tight end. The offensive line wasn't really an issue, but nobody could really run the ball on San Francisco this year besides the Raiders for some strange reason. And the Packers early in the season, but that's when the Packers were relevant. The Packers just never figured themselves out. The Packers had an identity crisis. The Packers were a running team and tried to be a passing team. That's where they went and they've evolved, and that's why the Packers are not in the playoffs. If they would have ran the ball,
They would have been the
this
playoffs.
season. Okay, the Packers should have made the playoffs. I mean, even barring the Detroit loss at the end, dude, they lost that game against the Giants in London where they were up by double digits and lost because they stopped running the ball. All they had to do was keep running the ball, and they decided to let Aaron Rodgers go pass happy and let the Giants back in the game. That's not Matt LaFleur and that team. Dude, you had a two-headed monster in Aaron Jones, who's the best offensive weapon on that team, and you underutilized him all damn season. Him and A.J. Dillon. They underutilized them all damn season. And now they're in a rebuild mode. And then that franchise is in salary cap hell. Even if like the salary cap is supposed to go to like $225 million. So the Packers will still be like negative 15 in the hole before they cut anybody. They got decisions they got to make, and this is Jordan Love's last year under the rookie contract. You don't play him, and you keep Rodgers? Man, dude, is straight up walk. Then you either stick with Rodgers or you trade Love, and you're rolling with Aaron for the next 3. Got to make it. So a lot of the decisions in Green Bay. Anyways, back to the Niners. You know what? The Niners knew that it was going to be tough to throw the ball, tough to run the ball, and they didn't overextend Purdy, and they kept within their game plan, and that's why they won. Okay?
Exactly.
Now, they won. Next week, okay.
Now they're
Let me just say this, and me and you kind of talked a little bit off air about this, and I don't want to give everything away for Thursday.
Right.
You know, especially since this will be the S show on Thursday, just on Thursday.
Because I do have somebody coming on Thursday,
so it'll be Shawn and a guest on Thursday. But let me say this, and you can talk more about this Thursday.
Yeah.
The winner of that Eagles 49ers game will be determined by which team can run the ball the best. And what I'm saying is this, that if the Eagles can't run the ball with Hurts and Miles Sanders and Gainwell and do their thing, they're in a world of trouble. I think the Niners will be fine, and they'll get their yardage.
Right.
Maybe not passing. Maybe not through passing, but through running.
Oh, yeah.
The question is, see, with the Eagles, the run sets up the pass. The run sets up the play action for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. But if you can't run the ball, play action goes to crap. And then, the running element with Jalen Hurts, you're going to probably have to put a spy on him out in the middle, make sure he doesn't run. Like those 3rd and 6s, he'll drop back quick, and then he runs. Right. You got to nip that in the bud. Right. Eagles, they've been doing that all season with him.
I'm surprised nobody.
You can bring a pass rush, but you can't blitz because he escapes. He's going to get 20-yard runs. But they got a capable enough pass rush where they can rush for and get heat. Okay, maybe not up the middle, because Kelsey's an all-pro center. He's the best center in football. His brother's the best tight end in football. There you go. Right?
Exactly.
So you're going to have to get heat from the edges, and your linebackers are going to have to play bomb in containing the run and limiting those quarterback runs from Hurts. He only had 34 yards. And like I said, they weren't going to run him much because they got to save him for the title because they were going to beat the snot out of the Giants. And that's exactly what they did. So this is a game where the Eagles are going to try to run Hurts a lot. He's going to run a lot more. I don't know what the SuperDraft Pro
Oh, let's
over
not
under will
check.
be for that game in terms of Jalen Hurts rushing yards and running attempts. But I can see 60, 70 yards rushing from it. They're going to probably need that for them to win.
Right. So in other words, what he's saying is like whoever runs the ball more or the more efficiently will win the George Hallis Trophy.
Whoever runs the ball more, put it like this: the Eagles can't run the ball, they're not going to win. I'll just flat out say it like that.
Right.
There. The Niners, their offense is a little bit more balanced, but the Eagles, man, they depend on that run a little more.
Oh yeah.
You
More than the
know,
pass. Because they
they
do like to
do.
run the ball.
Where the Eagles, what the Eagles have is they get out to these leads, right, on teams, and they force teams to have to become passing teams. And the Eagles got a good secondary. So that's where they force teams into trouble because you got a good secondary. So not the strongest on the run, but in terms of big plays and the passing defense, they've got that handled. They got a very good secondary.
All right, I got it. I got it for Jalen Hurts on the player props. So the Jalen Hurts, they have him as 48 and a half rushing yards, and for the passing yards is 244 and a half as of right now. So that's why I was like, I ain't gonna make my decision till like Thursday.
Yeah, so I mean, right now, I mean, the way we're going with the yardage and everything, they're gonna have to run him a lot to he's gonna have to get rushing yards to win. I wouldn't be shocked if Jalen Hurts has a rushing touchdown Sunday.
I can see that because they're gonna have to get him for that situation.
Yeah. So if you're betting like those player props, like will Jalen Hurts get a touchdown? Chances are pretty good, I would say.
It'll probably be a crease.
Yep, especially considering like last season he had like I think almost 50% of the rushing touchdowns for the Eagles last year.
Not a bad stat.
It was a very high number. And that. But I mean, I like the Niners to eke it out on the road. I really do, for some reason. I think they're going to stop them, but, it's going to come down as can the Eagles run the ball effectively?
And
That's
plus,
what this game will come down to. Now,
plus, Philadelphia does have a history of choking in the
Yep.
NFC Championship game.
Yep.
Not forget about that.
So let's talk AFC quick here.
Oh yes, the most exciting one.
So the big news is Patrick Mahomes' ankle. I mean, how healthy will it be coming into Sunday? I mean, just let me say this. Mahomes is a master improviser. I'm not saying he's Michael Vick or Jalen Hurts rolling out or whatever, but
yeah,
man, he knows how to get outside the pocket and use that mobility to improvise and create and buy more time to extend plays. And man, if you're not able to do that,
you're in trouble.
And then the Bengals have beat you 3 straight times. 2 of them in Kansas City, I believe.
I know because let me check right there.
I think 2 of them in Kansas City. Anyways, or at least one of the AFC title game last year was in KC, but 3 straight times. Anyways, point is this. The Bengals can have a pass rush. Yes, the Bengals O-line is jacked up a little bit, but the Chiefs defense, you got Chris Jones, who's a beast, and Frank Clark, so I think their defensive line's a little bit better than Buffalo's, especially because Buffalo didn't have Von Miller and some others. But the Bengals got a three-headed monster at wide receiver, and Hurst has stepped up in the playoffs here, and Joe Burrow is just Joe Cool, you know.
Right.
And if the Bengals play like they did in the second half of that AFC title game last year, then it's a no-brainer. It seems like the Bengals somehow have the Chiefs' number. And we'll see what happens Sunday. If that ankle's all jacked, it ain't going to happen. It could get ugly for the Chiefs. But if Mahomes is able to stick it out, it's going to be a close game. I'll be honest. I don't think I can pick a winner here. I think if Mahomes can gut it out, I think it'll be a close game. 27-24, 27-23, 28-23.
I actually got it. So Joe Burrow's 2-0 against the Chiefs. That's include the postseason.
Okay. Well, what about? I thought it was 3-0 because they played twice last year, I believe, and then they played this year. I thought it was 3-0.
No, it's two.
Maybe Joe didn't play in that game and the backup did. That's the only thing I can think of because
the last time they played was December the 4th.
Yeah, but they played last year though. Are you just going off of this year's stats in the AFC title game, or are we talking last year?
No, I'm looking at the record, Bengals and Chiefs record, postseason and regular season.
Oh, I swear they played each other last season in the regular season.
Let me check on that one. 2021 Cincinnati.
I think it was a very close game. I think it was in Cincinnati. And if I remember right, like Jamar Chase went off that day. He had like 200 yards or 3 touchdowns and something like that.
They did play last year. They did play last year on week 17 on January the 2nd.
Yeah, and that really kind of ignited the Bengals' run. I think Jamar Chase had a field day that day. I think he had like 3 touchdowns, if I remember.
But
and that's what really
all the Chiefs.
Yep, if I remember right, that's what really ignited the Bengals' playoff run last year. Hey, credit to Zach Taylor and the Bengals organization. And
he was about to get fired when Joe Burrow was about to get fired.
He was on a hot seat. Let me tell you, he was on a hot seat, and since last season. Okay, I remember watching the Bengals last year, and the Chargers came to town, and the Chargers put a whooping on them in Cincinnati. I mean, I think they scored like 45 points in Cincinnati, and
41-22 as man.
Yeah, it was something like that. Okay, close enough. It was a beatdown. Okay, and since that game. They have come alive.
Yes, they did.
They have come alive, and they have done their thing, which is pretty amazing for the Bengals to do that. So I mean, it's crazy.
That Patrick Mahomes leg injury, so that's why I'm looking, because me and you talked about this. Like the public is now favoring the Bengals over the Chiefs because of that Patrick Mahomes injury. So you might want to pay attention to that.
I mean, that injury is going to have a lot to do with and say so in determining, like what's going to go on in Vegas in terms of the betting and that kind of stuff for that game. Because
Chiefs fans don't want other teams to win the Lamar Hunt trophy because they love that, because they know they love that trophy a lot.
Well, it is named after the founder of the franchise, and I guess the guy who kind of named a Super Bowl in a way.
Yeah, he did.
Well,
You
his
gotta check it
kid,
out on YouTube, by
technically,
the way.
but still, you know, um, close enough.
Exactly. But,
I mean,
and let's not forget they used to be the Dallas Texans before they were Kansas City Chiefs. So just educating the folks that are listening. But yeah, I won't make my decision till like Thursday because I don't want to blow it. So right now on SuperDraft, they don't have the numbers for Patrick Mahomes rushing. They only have for passing as of right now. So they're probably looking like, we're probably not going to do the rushing part. We're more doing the passing, which is smart.
yeah, for now, I mean, it is what it is. And, you know, we'll see what all happens in that aspect for sure. I mean, it's far from over. That is for sure.
You also want to talk about Michigan basketball, Juwan Howard.
Yeah, let me just first off say this, okay, about the Big Ten. It sucks this season. The Big Ten is awful. As strong as they allegedly were last year. I mean, the conference this season is god awful this season. Michigan, I mean, they lost to Central Michigan.
Almost lost to
Okay?
Eastern Michigan.
I mean,
They barely won that game.
that's not exactly a strong look, if you want to say, for it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just not a strong look for Michigan basketball. And I think in their last 50 games, I mean, it's against Power Five, mid-major, whatever. I mean, it's like only a couple games over 500. Not exactly strong basketball. And I don't think there's a majorly powerful recruiting class coming in
Ugh.
for Michigan basketball here. And I
From
think there's some real concern right now for Michigan basketball coming into the next recruiting cycle. And I mean, put it like this: Jed Howard might be in the NBA, and all you might have left is Hunter Dickinson. That's if he stays.
right.
Then
On his draft status.
well, right now, I don't know if Hunter Dickinson's draft worthy right now. I kind of looked it up, and right now, I don't think he would get drafted right now, based on what I've looked on. I don't think he would be getting selected in the draft. That's kind of what it's looking like right now. He probably would not get picked.
And the only team right now is doing well so far in the Big Ten is Purdue.
I mean, it's Purdue, and then it's like everybody else. Like Rutgers is probably playing the second best basketball,
and Michigan's third, and
and that's not saying much. I mean, it really is not saying much for the Big Ten right now, basketball wise. That Michigan basketball is where it's at right now in terms of that type of thinking right now.
Because I'm very disappointed in the Big Ten. I'm especially Illinois. Illinois just.
Illinois right now has kind of crapped the bed right now, to say the least.
Because you would think like they would do better than they did last year. And of course, Michigan State lost to Indiana on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, and not like it's a very strong Indiana team,
Right. Because they were almost not going to make it to the tournament last year, but they won the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy right now to think about like where this team is right now in that aspect. And right now, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I think the only way like Michigan, right, would get into the NCAA tournament right now is they probably would have to win the conference tournament.
Right.
I mean, that's how bad right now Michigan basketball is right now. It's not good. And, I have to question the roster construction, I guess, if you'd like to call it that, of Juwan Howard right now. Like, seriously, I mean, is Reed going to be your guy in the future? I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of concern for this roster, especially in terms of like, where this recruiting is. I haven't really heard a lot about the next recruiting cycle for Michigan basketball, but it I can say that it hasn't exactly been super strong and swag worthy, or however you want to call it. I mean, it's nothing to brag about. I would say that is for sure. Nothing to brag about. Nothing to brag about. So I'm, as a Michigan basketball fan, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned right now about the basketball. I mean, I think the coaches are good, but
it's the recruiting class. I'm worried.
The recruiting right now is not of the strongest variety, I would say right now. And then when you get to the athletic department, I mean, let me just say this. Ward Manuel right now is not exactly on anybody's favorites list. First off, the president of the university pretty much had to handle the football contract. Ward Manuel messed up the whole hockey Mel Pearson investigation and that coaching situation. I guess there's some type of volleyball issue now where they extended the women's volleyball coach and they fired him 71 days later after the extension. And they got to pay this dude. Okay. Then the baseball coaching situation. I don't know if that was Ward's or the dude wanted to go back to Clemson, but that's not a good situation. I mean, there's a lot of turbulence right now. I think in the Michigan athletic department, and it is not all good. And
it's really
not at all. And I think it's very, very concerning right now, especially with regards to him right now.
Right. Because college baseball season don't start in a couple of months.
Man, they're already practicing. College baseball starts in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
No, wow. So like before baseball season even starts.
Oh yeah. College baseball starts in like February. They get their games like February, March. Then the warm weather teams get their games in March and April, and then it's NCAA tournament, conference tournaments, and early May, and then boom, NCAA tournaments, regionals, and all that. I mean, so baseball season's just about here.
Especially free agency.
In terms of college baseball, I mean, Major League Baseball, I mean, we're a couple weeks away from spring training. Yes.
Right.
Yes, couple weeks away. But in terms of college baseball, yeah, that's already well underway. That started a while ago. So I mean, that it's kind of crazy in that aspect. So the real question is back to the Juwan Howard thing. I think this is a pivotal off season for Juwan. He's got to do something. He's got to get some top level guys in there. I mean, Buffkin, they're good, but dude, if Hunter Dickinson goes, man, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know who you're bringing in. Especially if Jed Howard leaves.
This is real scary.
I mean, this is not a John Beeline ran program.
Right.
That is for sure.
We know that. I love John.
Well, I think right now for Michigan, I think there are some very serious concerns in regards to basketball and the athletic director's position. They, maybe it's because all that alleged NBA interest, players, like, I don't know, man, this dude could dip. I don't know. As for Ward Manuel, if you can't get along with your head coach and your head coach in football is doing it, no offense, it's probably time to move on.
Right. And matter of fact,
you know what? Maybe they already have it worked out, and after this season, during the summer, they're going to make those moves.
As a matter of fact, Michigan will be playing Purdue on Thursday. This Thursday at 9:00.
That's a big game. That's like
very big game.
That's a major game. I hate to say it at this point.
I don't see it.
I mean, they're probably not going to win, but I'm going to say it. You kind of need that win. You need the. I mean, if you didn't lose to Central Michigan and win, it would be so bad. But damn, after that, you kind of need that win because you know what? Michigan does not have a quad one win this year.
I know that for sure.
Not a single quad one win. That's pretty
that's disturbing.
That's very, very, very disturbing.
Because they don't have no ranked opponents after Purdue as of right now.
The Big Ten is just weak. Just weak. I mean, they'll be lucky to get 5 teams, I think, in. Like, Probably Purdue, Rutgers, Wisconsin, probably Michigan State, just based off the strength of schedule. And
I don't know about Northwestern. Northwestern is
no. Probably like Illinois might do it.
right.
I don't know. But they got destroyed by Missouri. I mean, like
That's
I
bad.
said, they might get 4 teams in. 4. If they got 4 in, I think they should feel happy.
Right. Because right now, I don't even know how many teams are going to be in the tournament as of right now. But the season will play out.
I mean, probably talking 4.
As of right now. But there is a story I did want to bring out. For those of you who have followed the USFL, or if you're a fan of the Michigan Panthers, so there is a report that the Michigan Panthers will play at Ford Field beginning in 2023. As you know, last season they were under a bubble. So since they're going to be playing at Ford Field because they're supposed to make the announcement on Thursday, they're supposed to be practicing at Eastern Michigan, which is like too far. I don't know when anybody wants to go east of Michigan to watch the Michigan Panthers practice, but subject for another topic. But the real question will be is what the ticket prices is going to be. You know what I mean? So at least they're playing at Ford Field, so that's going to make me want to go to the game. You know what I mean? Rather than just going to Alabama to watch them. Because last season they were under a bubble. So there's going to be a couple of USFL teams going to be playing at actual stadiums. You know what I mean? So that's the only team I can think of right now that's playing an actual stadium as far as USFL wise.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the league does in year 2, especially with the XFL, allegedly getting their start going here too soon.
Oh my gosh. There's going to be so much topics.
So you're about to almost see like competing leagues and players and time frames, and it's going to be interesting. One league probably isn't going to survive. The question is which one. My guess is the XFL because the NFL is kind of aligned with the USFL.
Exactly.
So, I mean, my guess is the XFL probably won't make it, even with The Rock.
Exactly. So, go ahead.
I mean, The Rock can do a lot of things. I don't know about saving the XFL.
Right.
Black Adam can only do so much. Anyways, player props.
As a matter of fact, we actually do. So we have the NBA player props. As you know, it is late night games. Okay. So the first one will be Chris Paul with 10 assists as they're going to be facing against the Charlotte Hornets.
I'll take the over. Sure, why not?
All right. Now the couple ones will be the Los Angeles Lakers and the Clippers and the Lakers rivalry. So the first one is Paul George with 6 rebounds. I can see that's an over.
Sure, why not?
Exactly. Kawhi Leonard, 27.5 points.
I'll take the under.
And then finally, LeBron James, 8.5 rebounds.
I'll take the over.
All right, that's your all 3. So it looks like I'm going to have 2 people will be co-hosted for me. So the first one will be Mr. Bill Buckduck Waters and then Pamela Michelle. They'll join me this Thursday at 7. This Thursday night at 7, as we're going to be doing the preview of the AFC NFC Championship game.
Woo, woo.
And of course the player props as well, because usually the line usually stop on Thursdays. Usually.
Yep. A lot of movement usually starts after Thursday with those lines. Yep.
Exactly. And then that's why I want to hear like the latest news and the injuries of a person, if that hopefully Patrick Mahomes' leg is like 100%. That's what I'll just say.
Yeah.
If it's not, then it could be trouble. Because like I said before, the Chiefs fans don't like other teams winning the Lamar Hunt trophy.
No, they don't, especially especially now that they're in their dynasty years right now.
Exactly. The same thing with the Chicago Bears. They don't like other teams winning the George Hallis Trophy.
The George Hallis Trophy, yeah. Hard to believe.
Exactly. So we're done. So I will see you this Thursday.
Everybody, peace out. Enjoy the week. And we'll catch you on Thursday. Well, everybody except for me, because I won't be available Thursday. So catch Shawn on Thursday. I'm sure it'll be a damn good show.
Exactly. It will.
Peace.
All right.